Get started. So welcome to our information meeting. I'm Tracy Hinks. I am the Deputy Corporate Officer and the Deputy Chief Election Officer for this election. And I have CAO Machado here, Manny, and Rebecca Anderson, who is our Chief Election Officer and our Corporate Officer for the town of Gibson. I'm going to walk you guys through this presentation, and any questions, if you could just wait till the end, and Rebecca's going to handle that. All right. Okay, so for today's outline, we're going to do a little overview of the election and a little bit of information on the town of Gibson's. We're going to give you some information on candidates and then voters, and then we're going to talk a little bit about tabulators and the voters list. And lastly, we'll have questions. So let's get started. So general voting day is Saturday, October the 15th, and we've got races for the offices of mayor, councillors, and school trustees. So an election for mayor and council, as well as school trustees, is required by the Local Government Act and the School Act. Local government elections in BC are held every 4 years, and the next one is October 15th. You're going to hear that date a lot. I have it over and over. The role of the election officials. So the chief upholds the statutes while appearing to be flexible and fair and consistent in decision making. The chief election officer, or you'll see CEO on a lot of documents, has certain legislative responsibilities, but also has the authority to delegate some responsibilities and powers to other election officials with restrictions and conditions. And the deputy role exercises powers of presiding election officials at the election proceedings, can take declarations, and delegates the CEO's duties and powers to other election officials. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. And as you all know, there's our geographical map of the town boundary. I'm going to have some big maps printed up too soon. So Gibson's at a glance. So we operate under a council, and that council has we operate under the model of a one employee being the chief administrative officer. And that role then gives us policy direction through the CAO for staff to implement. So we are a land total area of 4.31 square kilometers. We've got 28 parks and civic properties, 8.2 hectares, 0.25 hectares of parkland per 1,000 residents, 32 kilometers of paved roads, 2 kilometers of gravel lanes, and 16 kilometers of sidewalks. I stole that out of our annual report. So again, here's our organizational structure at a glance, down to the manager level. So mayor and council give direction to the chief administrative officer, who then directs our staff. So we have a budget that we just adopted our 2022 budget for general operating, water, and sanitary sewer services. And our municipal operations budget is just over $11 million. And we have a capital project budget of $8.8 million. So the purposes of the municipality include providing good government for its community, providing for services, laws, and other matters for community benefit, providing stewardship of the public assets and community, of the community, fostering economic, social, and environmental well-being of the community. So committee meetings and council meetings. So probably most of you know that they're held twice a month. Tuesdays are currently our day, with committee of the whole meetings held at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and council meetings at 7 p.m. 1 week prior to the meetings, we have our agenda packages go out. So we've got time to review the reports and ask any questions. Council meetings and public hearings, rules and procedures are set out in the Community Charter and the Local Government Act and in Council's procedure bylaw. And visit the town's website for any agendas upcoming. There's quite a few years besides 2021 and 2022 on our website. You can go back quite far. And along with being council and committee meetings, we've also got our special committee meetings like select committees. So committees are established to assist council and provide opportunities for public involvement in municipal matters. Committees are advisory in nature and function with the authority set out in their terms of reference or bylaws. And there are currently 4 select committees that are active, which is the Advisory Design Panel, the Police Select Committee, Public Arts Advisory Committee, and the Holland Lands Revitalization Committee. And in addition to those, the select committees are appointments through council. So that is done at every year, I believe our appointments are done. Yes. Yeah. So voting opportunities. So advanced voting is Wednesday, October 5th and Wednesday, October 12th. General voting day is October the 15th. And the ballot will show the names of the declared candidates for the offices of mayor, councillors, and school trustees. And all our voting locations are at the community hall, or the community center. So 700 Park Road, that's GAC for those of you who know that acronym. And applicable legislation. So some of you are probably very familiar with the Local Government Act and the School Act and the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act. And also our newest edition is the elections bylaw that was adopted this year for this election. And just note that Elections BC administers and enforces the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act. So all of the financing questions needs to go directly to Elections BC. So key dates. So we're just getting into our nomination period on August the 30th. And that closes on this September the 9th. The close of the withdrawal period is September 16th. If you don't withdraw, if you withdraw, but you do it after the date, your name will likely appear on the ballot, and the printing happens quite quickly, so that would be unfortunate. So if you're planning to withdraw, do it quickly. September 19th is the declaration of the election, and then advanced voting days there on the 5th and the 12th of October. General voting day on the 15th, and then declaration of the official results happens on the 19th, but we will have unofficial results before then. So with that, let's go to voting results. So voting polls open at 8 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. on general voting day. The results will be called into elections headquarters, which is here at Town Hall. And the unofficial results will be posted immediately on the website. So eligibility for both the School Act and the Local Government Act is 18 years of age, Canadian citizen, a resident of BC for 6 months before the nomination, not disqualified by law from voting in an election in BC or from being nominated for, elected to, or holding the elected office, and candidate residency in the jurisdiction is not required. So I pulled this slide in because I liked it. It was, this is from the Ubcm Principles of Responsible Conduct, and it just talks about integrity, accountability, respect, and leadership and collaboration. So the nomination procedure is probably why you're here. Opens on the 30th. Packages will be ready on Tuesday the 2nd. Sorry, what's Tuesday? August this, yeah, the 2nd. It's going fast. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I put you on the spot. Closes on September the 9th at 4 p.m. sharp. documents will be available on our website, but I'm only putting the nomination package and the elector organization endorsement package on our website. This is what the actual package looks like, and it's a lot. And so I will provide printed copies for those of you who want the full package, because it's got lots of good information in there. Yeah, let's go here. A candidate must be nominated by a minimum of 2 people qualified to vote in the general election. And this, we're not taking a nomination fee or a deposit on the packages this year either. So they can, documents can be submitted by hand, by mail, or other delivery service, or even by email. But I do need, or to myself or Rebecca, by September 16th, I need the original documents. And you'll notice in this candidate nomination package, this is it has to be signed in front of us, in front of one of us. So we'll need to bring them in. So candidate representatives. Candidates must either appoint a financial agent or act as your own financial agent. Candidates may appoint an official agent and scrutineers for general voting day. Scrutineers may observe the proceedings. 1 scrutineer is allowed per ballot box. Candidates are responsible for informing scrutineers of their role in the voting place. And I'll make placards for everybody to wear around their necks so that they're identifiable. Endorsement by elector organizations. Did you want to talk about this one, Rebecca, or do you want me to go ahead?
So if there's going to be an elector organization that has to be minimum, 50 electors minimum to form an elector organization, have to register with Elections BC. And then the organization may endorse a candidate in the election and have that endorsement included on the ballot. So the candidate is required to consent to the endorsement, and the organization may not endorse more candidates in an election than there are positions to be filled. In our case is 1 mayor, 4 councillors. The candidate must not consent to endorsement by more than one organization. And the organization has to have an authorized principal official and must appoint a financial agent, and the endorsement documents must be filed by 4 p.m. September 9th. It's the little package is very similar to the other package. So it looks like that's here if you want to.
And this will be on our website on Tuesday. Thank you. So campaign financing. So again, I must comply with the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act. And there's a big guide. There's actually, I think I included it in the document that has a lot of good information in it. And remember that you need a separate bank account strictly for campaign finances. All contributions and expenses must be recorded, and disclosures must be filed with Elections BC within 90 days after the general voting day.
Just jump in here.
Yep.
Questions about campaign financing must be directed to Elections.
Yep.
Not optional.
They get
allowed to have those questions.
Thank you. So financial documents. The legislation requires that all candidates, whether elected or not, must complete campaign financing documentation. Elections BC administers this process. Financial documents are available for public viewing at the local government office for 7 years after the election. That one always gets me. Yeah, they're not acceptable. That's right. And donations are not tax deductible. And campaign financing disclosure statements must be filed with Elections BC. We just repeated that, but just reiterating. So election offenses, advertising on general voting day is a no-no. Falsely withdrawing a candidate or an endorsement, fraudulently voting, interfering with ballots or ballot boxes, canvassing or advertising within 100 meters of a voting place, any other activity contrary to the Local Government Act.
And you don't have to read the whole Local Government Act. There's only 2 parts.
Yeah, it's And we're trying to keep our elections webpage up to date as best as we can. So I've got, Elizabeth has been fabulous putting that together. So keep watching. And there's different sections, so drop downs for candidates, voters, being updated almost every day. Election signs. So election signs are in our bylaw 1301. And it regulates locations for signs. There's no sign permit and there's no building permit required this year. Signs may be posted after September 9th, and candidates are requested to remove their signs within 4 days after general voting day.
That's quite good, because part of the regulation for candidates.
So more about signs. No election sign, poster, placard, or handbill shall be erected or placed on the property owned or under the control of the town. And signs may not be placed which obstruct or detract from any traffic control device or signage. They can't obstruct a line of vision at an intersection or create a safety hazard for pedestrians, cyclists, or vehicles, and they cannot be placed within 1 meter of a fire hydrant. And it's all in this package. So voters. So for resident electors, you need to be 18 years of age or older on general voting day and a Canadian citizen. BC resident for 6 months before registering to vote, a resident in the town of Gibsons, and are not disqualified by law from voting in a local election. The non-resident property electors, also 18 years of age or older, Canadian citizen, pretty much the same.
Running doesn't have to be a resident.
This is just for non-resident.
This is always, this is different for voters than for candidates.
Yeah, thank you. So school trustee voter eligibility. The requirements for electors voting for the school trustees are the same as those for the resident and non-resident property electors above, except that the elector must be the registered owner of the real property in the school district for at least 30 days immediately before the day of registration. And the boundaries of School District 46 include the town of Gibsons, electoral area D, and E and F, so our surrounding electoral areas. How to vote. So if you're on the registered voters list, we use the provincial voters list. So if you're on that, then we'll be able to find you and request that you sign the voting book, give your ballot and instructions for the automated vote count, and direct you to the voting booth. No ID, this is important. No ID is required if the voter is on the list of registered voters. If you're not on the list, you need to fill out an application for registration and show 2 pieces of ID, sign your name and address in the voting book, receive your ballot and instructions for the automated vote counting machine, and proceed to the voting booth. And here are some examples of identification that is accepted. Pretty standard stuff. Voting opportunities. So advanced again is October 5th and 12th, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. General voting day is Saturday, October 15th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Gibsons and Area Community Center. All 3 days are at the community center. So we will be doing mail ballot packages this year, and they must request a mail ballot package and request how they would like to receive it, whether they're going to pick it up or have it or mail it back, and how they want us to send it to them. Mail ballots must be received by the chief election officer before the close of voting on general voting day. It's the obligation of the person applying to vote by mail ballot to ensure that the mail ballot is received by the chief election officer by this date and time. If the ballot does not contain all the required information and signatures, then it cannot be counted. So we will be using the voting tabulators M100. It's a hand-fed optical scanner and tabulator that uses visible light scanning to count and record voter information from paper ballots. Tabulators have been used in the town of Gibson's local elections since 2014 and are used by many other local governments in BC. And again, we use the provincial voters list. So here's a sample ballot. We'll have the 3 columns, one for mayor, one for councillor, and one for school trustee. So you cannot conduct election advertising in a newspaper, magazine, or on a radio or television on the day of general voting, October 15th. There must be no campaigning material within 100 meters of a voting place. This includes people wearing campaign buttons in the voting place. So after the election, so Gibson's actually has a really high voter turnout. You can see here, I put this together because it was quite fascinating. The last 4 elections, and it's a little more clear on the next slide, but in 2018, the estimated eligible voter turnout for Gibson's was 44%, which is 8.4% higher than the BC municipal turnout average. And this is my favorite slide. So the green represents the percentage of eligible Gibson's voters, of voter turnout, sorry. And the blue is the municipal average. And the brown represents how much percent higher we are than the average. So you can see that Gibson's has a very high turnout. So what happens if there's a tie? Then we go to judicial recount. It's a technical. You want to do this? The results of the election are to be determined by lot between those candidates in accordance with the Local Government Act. So what does that mean? That means that each candidate's name is written on a piece of paper as similar as possible to all the other pieces of paper. The pieces of paper are then folded in a uniform manner with the candidates' names, not visible. The pieces of paper are then put in a container sufficiently large enough that it can be shaken, and distribution is random. The container, is shaken. The court is then to direct a person who is not a candidate or a candidate representative to withdraw one piece of paper. The court declares elected the candidate whose name is on that paper. Has that ever happened?
I was just going to say.
The last by-election in Lytton, they had a tie and they had to go to court and the judge drew.
Really?
Yeah.
2004, the mayor did recount 3 times.
2004?
But was there a clear winner in the end?
In the end, there was a winner by 4 votes, 7 votes.
Does a judicial recount only happen if there's a tie, or is it basically if it's separation?
If someone challenges.
Yeah, if someone challenges them. Is it judicial?
No.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is more about the judicial recount, who can apply to have a recount, and how some of the circumstances that would come up to have one.
They have to actually.
Yeah,
You try to settle it before.
yeah. Rock, paper, scissors.
There's always rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. So what happens once you're elected? So the term is 4 years, and the inaugural swearing-in ceremony is November the 1st. The successful candidates will receive extensive orientation late 2022 and into the 2023. Almost all decisions are made in a public forum. You have 1 vote of 5. And the mayor does not break the tie votes. Decisions are made collectively, and council decision commits the town to a particular course of action. Time commitment, and this is very important. We have approximately 24 council meetings scheduled per year, and 8 to 10 public hearings scheduled, or not scheduled, as needed. 24 committee of the whole meetings are scheduled per year. Public hearings happen as needed. Committee appointments, responsibilities, interacting with the public, invitation to community events. So all these things happen throughout term. However, in 2021, there were 93 council and committee meetings and 3 public hearings. So lots and lots of reading. In 2021, there were 33 regular and special council meetings with agenda pages averaging 80, and that's excluding in camera or any reading files or anything like that that would come out weekly. And 26 committee of the whole agendas averaging 100 pages, and that happens twice a month. So what do? We do water, we monitor and protect the Gibson's aquifer. We do parks and community services, protective services such as building bylaw. We have administrative services and ICBC services. Some of the administrative services include taxing. Oh, I got actually put that down here in financial, sewer services, roads, drainage, snow removal, waste services, planning and development services, and financial services such as taxes and utility billing. So what do we get paid? The mayor and council are paid bi-weekly in accordance with the remuneration and expense bylaw number 1263. So the review was done in 2018 for bylaw 1263, with the mayor getting 40,000 per year, councillors getting 20,000 per year, and deputy mayor getting a stipend of $100 per month. And with CPI being added annually, currently the mayor is getting paid $42,568, councillors at $21,274, and still a deputy mayor at $100 per month. The benefits: reasonable allowance for business purposes are expenses that are covered, such as internet, cell, upgrades to auto insurance for business purposes, travel allowance for association meetings and annual Ubcm conferences, subject to budget, and extended health and dental benefits. 1/3. Thank you. Questions? So packages will be available on Tuesday. They look like this. There's about 220 pages. You'll note that in the package, there are things that need to be signed in front of us. So we will probably need to have an appointment or some confirmation that we're in the building.
Make sure we're not working from home.
Working from home
Or
or on vacation, heaven forbid. And like I said, this one in particular needs to be signed in front of us. Some of these documents are made public, so they're available for public inspection with your personal information, like your address taken redacted.